Hope is the most powerful invisible force in the universe. It doesn't scream, but it speaks. It doesn't demand attention, but it draws the soul. It doesn't come with guarantees, but it carries possibilities. In the darkest corners of our lives, when the night feels like it will never end, hope is the flicker of light that reminds us the sun is still rising somewhere. It tells us that this pain will not last forever, that this storm will pass, and that even if everything is broken now, healing is not only possible, it's on the way. Hope is not denial. It doesn't pretend the pain isn't real. It looks at the pain straight in the eyes and whispers, "Not today. You don't win." And what makes hope so powerful is not just what it does inside you, but what it does through you. One person who chooses hope can start a ripple effect that touches thousands, even millions. Think of a stranger holding the door open with a smile. Think of a handwritten note left for someone battling depression. Think of a meal delivered to a sick neighbor. These acts don't require fame, money, or a stage. They only require someone who refuses to let cynicism win. Our world is noisy with fear. We're told the system is broken, that people are selfish, that kindness is weakness. But history tells another story. A story of people who chose to plant seeds of hope in fields of despair. A story of those who were tired, hurting, abandoned, and yet still showed up for someone else. It's easy to feel like you don't matter, like the world is too big and your voice too small. But remember this: change has never needed permission from the powerful. It only needed someone to start, someone like you, someone who doesn't wait for perfect conditions to act, someone who realizes that every single time you choose to be kind, when it's hard, patient, when it's frustrating, or forgiving when it's painful, you are building a world your grandchildren will thank you for. Every time you listen without judging, encourage without expecting, or serve without applause, you are carrying a torch of light into a world desperate for warmth. You might think you're just one person, but so was Martin Luther King Jr., so was Mother Teresa, so was Nelson Mandela. They didn't begin with a crowd. They began with conviction, with faith, with vision. Their movements began with a decision, quiet and internal, to keep hoping when it felt useless, to keep giving when they were empty, and to keep loving when it cost them everything. Hope doesn't always look strong. Sometimes it's just a whisper inside saying, "Try again." Sometimes it's just getting out of bed when grief has pinned you down. Sometimes it's holding back the anger and choosing empathy instead. These choices don't make headlines, but they change lives, and when they add up, they change the world. You don't have to fix everything. You just have to do something: smile at the cashier, call someone you miss, give a compliment, leave a kind comment online. Help a stranger, listen more, judge less. You never know which simple act will be the one that stops someone from giving up. People don't remember everything you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. Let them feel seen. Let them feel safe. Let them feel valued. That's what hope does. It doesn't always bring solutions, but it brings strength. It may not fix the moment, but it strengthens the soul to face the moment. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's everything. Think of the child who survives bullying because one teacher believed in them. Think of the addict who turns their life around because one friend refused to give up. Think of the parent who keeps going because their child whispered, "I love you." These are not headlines, but they are victories, and they are everywhere. Look closer, and you'll see them in your own life. The stranger who showed kindness, the friend who stayed when everyone else left, the person who gave you a chance when you didn't deserve one. Hope is not a miracle. It is a chain reaction, and you are part of it. Never underestimate what your small act can do in someone's life. The next person you help might be the next person who helps 1,000. Keep rising. keep believing, keep doing good in a world that sometimes forgets how. That's how change happens, not in waves of glory, but in steady drops of faith, in quiet courage, in ordinary heroes. Be one. Be the reason someone believes in the goodness of people again. Hope is not a destination, it is a discipline. It is waking up every day and choosing to see the light even when darkness feels more familiar. It is refusing to let your circumstances dictate your character. It is finding meaning in the struggle, purpose in the pain, and strength in the silence. Hope is what carries the exhausted parent through another day of sacrifice. Hope is what whispers to the sick, "You are more than your diagnosis." Hope is what fuels the dreams of the one who has failed, fallen, and yet dares to rise again. Every act of hope is a seed planted in faith, and sometimes you don't see the fruit right away. Sometimes you don't see it at all, but it still grows. It grows in the unseen places. It grows in the hearts you've touched, and the lives you never knew you changed. You may never know that your smile saved someone from a breakdown. You may never hear the story of how your kind words redirected a life, but make no mistake, they did. You made a difference, and the beauty of hope is that it multiplies. When you carry it, others catch it. When you give it, it spreads. When you live it, it becomes contagious. One spark becomes a flame. One flame becomes a fire. One fire becomes a movement. And this world, aching under the weight of fear and bitterness, is desperate for that fire. Desperate for those who still believe in compassion. Desperate for those who choose peace over pride, unity over ego, love over control. You might think your kindness is too small to matter. You might think your efforts are invisible. But mountains are moved by hands that never made the news. Battles are won by warriors whose names history never recorded, because real change doesn't come from spotlight moments. It comes from daily choices. Quiet consistency, steady courage. Every act of mercy is a protest against cruelty. Every moment of grace is a victory over judgment. And every time you rise after being knocked down, you declare to the world, hope is still alive. Don't let cynicism steal your fire. Don't let disappointment shrink your reach. The world needs your voice, your story, your light. It doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to be real, to show up. To love boldly, to stand firmly in the belief that tomorrow can be better than today, and when it gets hard, and it will, remember that hope isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just showing up for your life when everything in you wants to give up. Sometimes it's helping someone else while you're still hurting yourself. Sometimes it's smiling through tears, forgiving when it still hurts, believing when all logic says quit. These moments may feel small, but they are sacred. They are the moments that shape the future. You were made to rise, to endure, to be a light in the places where others gave up. You were made to carry the torch of those who came before you, the ones who dared to dream when the world said stop, the ones who fought for justice, peace, and love when hate seemed louder. And now it's your turn not to be them, but to be you fully, freely, fiercely. Your kindness might not make headlines. Your service might not earn trophies. Your story might not trend, but in someone's life it will be everything. In someone's darkness it will be the light. In someone's despair it will be the anchor. That's the power of hope. It lifts what is heavy. It heals what is broken. It builds what was lost. And it begins not with crowds, but with one heart choosing to believe. That heart can be yours. That choice can be now. That act, however small, can be the spark that starts something greater than you ever imagined. So be bold in your kindness, be relentless in your compassion, be fearless in your love, because this world has enough noise, enough division, enough fear, what it needs, what it's longing for, is someone like you choosing hope again and again and again. And if no one has told you this lately, let me say it now. You matter, your story matters, your presence matters, and the good you do, no matter how quiet or unseen, matters more than you know. Hope is not fragile, though it often appears that way. It may tremble in the storm, but it never truly breaks. Hope bends. It stretches across the chaos, across the failures, across the nights when nothing seems worth saving. But it does not give in. It waits, and while it waits, it strengthens. It grows in silence, in the background, in the cracks of broken moments, like green pushing through concrete. That is where its power lies, in the unexpected places. Hope is what keeps the mother praying after the world has forgotten her child. Hope is what keeps the father working 2 jobs, so his children won't have to choose between food and dreams. Hope is what keeps the young person chasing vision in a world that mocks conviction. Hope keeps rising, not because it ignores reality, but because it believes reality is not the end of the story. The story is still being written, and your part matters. You may not feel like a hero. You may not feel brave or strong or noble. But that's what makes hope so transformative. It uses the ordinary to create the extraordinary. You were never asked to be perfect. You were asked to be faithful, faithful in showing up, in loving without expecting, in giving when it's inconvenient. One small act can become someone's lifeline. One moment of listening can make someone feel seen. One honest compliment can mend a heart. Do not dismiss the power of what you can do today. Do not underestimate the reach of your smallest kindness.